Today I'm yet again going to be taking a look at a show that I never really gave a chance, T.U.F.F. Puppy. Why did I never give this show a chance? Because I kinda thought the main character, Dudley, was really annoying. I just wasn't about a dog main character again, especially when they just act dumb the entire time. Plus, it was also at the later half of Butch Hartman's career, and his jokes kinda turned into, let's just do the opposite of whatever I just said. It would be things like, oh man, I'm so sick of that YouTuber doing an Arnold impression all the time. It's never going away. That's basically his jokes. That's what he would do like 90% of the time. It would be, oh man, at least it's not raining. And then it starts raining, and I was just sick of it. Maybe it was just Butch Hartman fatigue, and this show is actually really good. I'm gonna be trying to figure that out by watching the 2 best episodes in the series, the 2 worst episodes, and 2 random episodes to decide, was T.U.F.F. Puppy a good or bad show? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe because I upload almost every single day, and you don't want to miss it. And if you want a place where you can talk about your favorite shows, movies, games, whatever you really want, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's take a look at T.U.F.F. Puppy. Starting us off, taking a look at one of the best episodes in the series with a 9.8 on IMDb, we have the episode Great Scott. And this episode is all about them going into Scotland to fight the Loch Ness Monster. Sounds like it would be a really cool concept, right? Something you could get behind. I don't like the characters, man. I don't like this world. I don't like how everybody acts. It just kinda pisses me off. I know I'm gonna get a bunch of comments like, nah, twin, it was peak. 6-7. That's what 90% of my comments are gonna be, because they're just blinded by the fact that they didn't watch anything good growing up. But man, Dudley just sucks as a main character. When you put a dog as a main character and his 2 traits are, oh, I'm so energetic, and I'm so fucking stupid, then it's just not that entertaining for me. And Dudley embodies that perfectly. He doesn't listen to anything going on, and that joke is present throughout the entire series, I'm gonna guess, to where a character is giving some exposition or explaining their evil plan. They're like, and then I went to the ball factory, and I committed testicular torsion on everyone there. And Dudley's like, huh? Sorry, I was staring at that bird over there. And that happens repeatedly over and over and over again, and I don't think it's very entertaining. Personally, that's just what I think about it, but either way, they're going to Scotland to have a dandy old Scottish time. You know, kilts and such. It's gonna be great. And our first interaction with Dudley here, or my first interaction, is the fact that Dudley slept on a Scottish book, which means he now knows that everybody's name is Scott. Yes. That's the entire joke for the first 2 minutes. They're just like, oh yeah, that's Scott over there. Instead, Scott's entire family's name is Scott. It's just so unbelievably hilarious. They eventually get all the way to where they're supposed to be, to this guy who is getting their help to fight the Loch Ness Monster. How exciting. And so he gives them exposition about how a former prince long ago defeated the Loch Ness Monster, and he's saying like, oh, I'm going to debrief you guys on what you gotta do, yeah. And Dudley's like, debrief? But I'm not wearing underwear. And then it cuts to his ass cheeks.
To my office for the debriefing.
I've already been debriefed, Scott. As you can see, I'm not wearing any underpants.
That's really comedic, if you ask me. Wow, that was really, really funny. And then we also learn that the prince who fought the Loch Ness Monster had a wife who looked like a hag, who looks like the kitty woman in the show. And so she gets knocked into this water cooler and her hair looks the same. So now everybody starts beating her with fish throughout the entire episode.
He's calling everybody Scott now.
Thanks for the dates, hideous hag.
And honestly, I was okay with that. I kind of liked it. I thought her just randomly getting hit by people with fish was kind of funny. I enjoyed that aspect. But either way, they go to fight the Loch Ness Monster, and Dudley just gets trampled, which was kind of fun to see. I like watching this stupid-ass character get beat to a bloody fucking pulp, so that was entertaining. And then we cut to this other character named Snaptrap, who is just a rat, and he's very dumb, and he came to Scotland so that he could sell more souvenirs, and because there's other people selling souvenirs, he's like,
I must pair myself with the chameleon so that I can sell the most souvenirs.
And so we learn that the Loch Ness Monster is actually this other villain named the Chameleon. Okay, cool, I guess. And then we just get a bunch of more shenanigans of Dudley being hesitant because he doesn't want to go and fight the monster, and Kitty getting beat with fish. That goes on for a while, yeah. And then Dudley goes to fight the Loch Ness Monster again, and Kitty's like, wait a minute!
Can somebody explain to me where the Loch Ness Monster came from? I don't think it came from water, so it couldn't possibly be the Loch Ness Monster.
Well, theoretically, if everybody was searching a lake for 30 years and they couldn't find anything, maybe it's not in the water in the first place, Kitty. But either way, she figures out that it must be the chameleon, just kind of out of the blue. That was kind of random. And then Dudley, he's fighting the Loch Ness Monster, getting crushed repeatedly, and Kitty's like, wait, Dudley, it's the chameleon! And so, the chameleon's powers are really stupid. He doesn't actually shapeshift himself. He uses, like, a bodysuit. That's great. And Dudley, he has a sandwich in his hand, so he throws his sandwich at this vent, which causes the vent to be blocked, which causes all the sprinklers on the ceiling to go off. Oh, okay. And then the chameleon short circuits. So, wow, this creature that was capable of destroying an entire city for a really awful souvenir plot to make money was defeated by water. How exciting. That was wonderful. Yeah, I didn't really like it very much, honestly. Oh, I can't forget, there was the opposite day joke at the end, where the villains, after they're all put in prison, they're like, oh, I can't believe the heroes bought that I was the Loch Ness Monster for so long. And I can't believe they would think the Loch Ness Monster is real. And then the Loch Ness Monster actually genuinely shows up and is like, rawr.
Can't believe those rubes actually thought there was a real Loch Ness Monster.
Yay. Either or. I love you, Daddy. That's how that made me feel, I guess. I don't know. I really didn't like this episode. I don't know how it got a 9.8. I didn't think it was that funny. I didn't think it was that entertaining. And it's not even like I was going into this with the desire to be very negative about it. It just didn't lure me in. And I thought all the jokes were just so mild and so tame and just playing it safe in every way that it's just not entertaining. Would I take this over ass and fart jokes any day? Of course. There were certain aspects of the episode that I liked, specifically Kitty getting hit by fish. That was great, that was enjoyable. I was having fun watching this cat character just get beat down with fish. That was fun, but everything else was just abysmal to sit through because I didn't like Dudley. All the villains are very mediocre at best, that's what I was feeling about them, and I just didn't really care for the plotline, and the entire climax at the end, it wasn't engaging to me because the big finale is the Loch Ness Monster losing to water. Really? That is not my cup of tea. I was not about it, okay? It was not the best. It was not going to be the best. And it's definitely just not my favorite. If I was going to rate this episode from 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 4 out of 10. And that pains me to say for one of its best episodes, but I gotta be honest with you. The jokes didn't land for me. The entertainment value just wasn't there because I don't like Dudley as a main character, and I thought the big finale of it was just wasted. Genuinely. Not my favorite episode, that's for sure. Taking a look at one of the worst episodes in the series with a 5.8 on IMDb, we have Dead or Alie. And this episode covers just one of my favorite things in all of fiction. Let's take one character and let's just torture them for 11 minutes straight and make the main character seem like he's not that bad of a person. Except this time around, it's with Dudley, the tough puppy, just being an insufferable asshole to a friend who genuinely seems like she cares about him. So this episode opens with Dudley seeing two just cupcakes on the table, and his greed, his gluttony makes him trick Kitty into disarming a bomb so that he could eat both cupcakes. He's just like, ugh. Oh god, I can't resist having both of the cupcakes. Oh! And so he eats them all, and his initial reaction is to be like, oh man, they were poison. They were poison. I had to eat them for you. Because listen, I know all about poison, okay? And in fact, I am the best at taking on the poison. And so he eats it, and then he blames it on the chameleon, and because the chameleon, he doesn't have any friends, he's all like, oh yes, I did the poisoning. Oh yes! And so he becomes friends with the other villains. I didn't really care about that side plot in the episode. They tried to do a lot of fun stuff with it, but I didn't really care for it. It's just the villains like dressing up in pajamas or as women because it's supposed to be, ha, it's so funny. They're doing silly stuff as friends and braiding each other's hair. Nah, it didn't really work for me, personally. And so Kitty, being nice and seeing that Dudley just poisoned himself, she's like, okay, I'm gonna give you the best day ever in case you're gonna die. And so they just go out and they start having some fun, having a good time. Kitty spends her entire week's paycheck so that Dudley can live in a castle made of ice cream. And she even gets beat to a bloody pulp by a bunch of young children.
The lady who bought all the ice cream in town, get her!
They're like, that's the lady that took our ice cream. And so she gets beat by them. That was cool. And then Kitty gets beat by a sumo because Dudley, for some reason, wants to fight a sumo wrestler. Very interesting premise. She gets beat by that. And then, oh, by the way, she sold her car to afford Dudley being able to do that. And then Kitty gets beat again and ends up in the hospital with dislocated shoulders. And only then is Dudley like, Kitty, I have to confess to you, I wasn't poisoned. I wasn't. I'm sorry, I lied to you. And Kitty is very frustrated by this. But then the chameleon, realizing that if Dudley isn't actually poisoned, then he'll lose his friends. He sends some cupcakes for Dudley to eat. And Dudley sees that Kitty wants these cupcakes. She doesn't know that they're poison. Dudley doesn't know it. And then we get one of my least favorite character tropes, one of my least favorite things that any character will do in any show, where they struggle to do something, where he's holding the cupcakes and he's like, you want the cupcake? You want me to give you these? I can't do it.
Give them to me?
Yeah, that's what he does for a very long time, at least 30 seconds. And the entire time I'm just thinking, are children laughing at this? Was this really the best you could do, Mr. Hartman? Whatever happened to your fun, silly-witted adventures with Timmy and Cosmo and Wanda? What happened to that? Why are we doing these things? But either way, he eventually does give them to Kitty, and then he walks outside and he learns that they're poisoned, so he runs back and he saves Kitty's life, and then yippee doodle, happy ending, they're friends again. Oh boy, oh boy. Was that fun or what? Was that a great time? I don't think so. I didn't really have fun with this episode. I thought some of the visual gags were fun, like Kitty getting attacked by the children. Yes, I'm watching that character get tortured, but I also don't really care for her character very much, so watching her get beat by kids is kind of funny. The sumo one wasn't funny because it just wasn't a very good visual gag, and then I don't even remember how else she got beat up. I just, it's all like a faint memory. Feels like somebody just pumped black tar heroin into my skull and everything's just fading away. But either way, it's still a pretty bad episode. Honestly, I did enjoy it more than a couple of the better episodes, like the best ones on IMDb. So I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 5 out of 10. It does a lot of things wrong. It has a lot of tropes that I dislike, and the scenes, they don't really flow together very well. And Kitty's personality when she's sad about Dudley feels like it's extremely exaggerated to the point where she loses all of her core character traits, where in the past episodes that I've watched, she seems like she's well-witted, she can think these out, she can solve problems, but here it's just, oh, Dudley! Are you gonna die? I don't know. It just feels very out of character for her to act in this way, so I didn't really enjoy that. But overall, the episode does do some things right. The progression of it's okay. Even though I wasn't a personal fan of the side plot with the villains, I could definitely see some people understanding and liking that. So far, one of the worst episodes, a 5 out of 10. That's not awful. Taking a look at another one of the best episodes in the series with a 9.8 on IMDb, we have To Be or Not To Be. And dear Lord, it just doesn't get better, does it? Because I didn't like this episode either. This episode is kind of all over the place with the jokes that it's trying to tell, and I'm not basing my entire enjoyment of a cartoon on whether or not it can make me funny, but when it's doing so many different things that are apparent that it is trying to make me laugh and failing in so many ways, I just don't find myself enjoying it, to say the least. So there's a couple things going on. We open this episode up with some mutant bees on the attack. And one joke that I do like in this episode is there's this Poindexter guy. He's like,
oh boy, I've been studying, stuff in the Amazon rainforest, and, I was getting high off some jungle juice, and, I created the mutant bees.
I kind of like that guy. I thought he was funny, and there's just a running joke that he keeps doing things while hallucinating on jungle juice.
Certainly not, because we drank jungle water and our brains got all fogged up.
I enjoyed that joke a lot. That was very fun. That was good. Maybe I just like that character because I hadn't seen him before, but he's fun. He's just like,
I must have done that while I was hallucinating on jungle juice. Oh God, I can't be having jungle juice anymore.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Apparently, he was the one who created the mutant bees, and now they're moving into the Petropolis, the area where they live, to attack all of them and take over the world. So it's up to Dudley and Kitty and this other bee who is just stuck to the wall for some odd reason to take down all of the mutant bees. And it sounds like an entertaining enough premise, right? It sounds like it's going to be a fun, dandy old time. It just isn't, because there's also this side plot of Dudley wanting a birthday party, which some of it was a little bit funny, I won't lie, and some of it was really annoying. Some of it is just like,
so you're gonna throw me a 3/4 birthday party? 3/4 of the way there.
Please throw me a birthday party. That's what happens a lot. And then the other joke that I actually do like is when things just randomly appear. Like Dudley being all like, well, then why did you set up for my birthday party? And all the room is all of a sudden just decorated. And Kitty's like, you did this, Dudley. You spent the past hour doing this.
First of all, there is no party.
Oh, really? And what's all this?
You did that.
I thought that was kind of funny, but I don't know. It's like a mix of him being really annoying and him actually being funny. And overall, it just leaves me feeling quite mellow. So either way, the doctor's all like,
I made a bee turning machine on when I was high on jungle juice.
and so he turns Dudley into a bee, and this other bee, they fly to the hive to go and stop the mutant bees. And that is where the episode really takes a dive for me, because I have to listen to the bees. And the bees genuinely sound like, I don't know, Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks did way too much Fent. Like, he's just doing the Fenny nod, and he's just like, oh God, I want to take over the world, oh. That's what they sound like to me. That's not exact, but the entire time I had to listen to two bees arguing, I was just getting progressively more pissed off.
Hello, Rumble. Well, if it isn't my pathetic little brother. Lana, what are you doing here?
It was so unbelievably annoying. So Dudley and this other bee, who isn't a mutant bee, fly into there, and they sneak in and act like Dudley is a prisoner so that this bee can confront his bee brother, and then the bee brother's like, oh my God, oh, I'm so proud of you, brother, let's take over the world together. And the regular bee's like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this, oh, thank you, brother. And then he overhears his brother say that he doesn't actually care for him even remotely, and he's just using him. So then the bees start arguing for a very, very, very long time, and we get to watch the shittiest drawn bees ever in existence of animation slowly fly at each other and just whack their stingers together in the most anticlimactic end to an episode I've ever seen. And then Dudley, because he has a mirror that he was using to make surprise faces, is all like, oh, stop him. And so he blocks all the lasers. Oh, I didn't mention the mutant bees shoot lasers out of their ass. Yep. Peak, having a good time. He stops all of that, which causes the hive to blow up. How exciting! Yippee! I don't know, this episode drags in a lot of places, like that entire final battle. I explained that all in about a minute's time. That actually took place over 4 minutes, and the majority of it was just two high-pitched bees going, oh, I'm so mad at you, brother! Oh, how could you betray me, brother? Oh, I never trusted you, brother! It's just, yeah. That's what goes on for like 4 solid minutes, and then Dudley chimes in with his mirror and caps it all off just spectacularly. I don't know. I found this episode to be extremely dry, very boring. The jokes didn't really hit. There was just a whole lot missing from this episode for me, and the characters just didn't work very well. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 3 out of 10. You know what could have really fixed this episode? Is all you gotta do is you gotta get Jerry Seinfeld, you know, just spend that extra money, even though, is Jerry Seinfeld a bad person? I don't know, probably. Everybody's a bad person nowadays. But either way, get him to spend that money, just throw it all over him and just get him to go like, you like jazz? And then the brother bee, the evil bee for the episode, just, I don't know, get Ken. Well, a royal flush. Cusco's poison for Cusco. Hey, Peter. Just get that. That would have been so much more enjoyable. Pay the extra money. Don't make them sound like they're a chipmunk having a hernia. It pisses me off and it ruined the episode. Taking a look at another one of the worst episodes in the series with a 5.3 on IMDb, we have the episode Tourist Trap. And I haven't been this mad at characters in a show since I watched, like, Breadwinners. I find this to be so awful. Butch Hartman, he strikes again with his comedic comedy skills with, let's tell an opposite joke to start off the episode, yay! With Dudley and Kitty, they're going on a vacation, and Kitty's like, 1 week away from villains, I'm so excited to not have to deal with any villains. And then, of course, a villain shows up within one frame.
A week away from crime and bad guys sounds amazing.
What's up, losers?
And it's Snaptrap, the rat. And God, I was okay with him initially, but this episode has made him one of my least favorite characters in fiction. Along with Dudley, the tough puppy, I now hate them so unbelievably much, man. They're so annoying, dude. It's so bad. So either way, Snaptrap, he has this little plushie that he plays with, and that's kind of important, I guess, because it gets kidnapped later. And then Kitty is also kidnapped once they get to this resort. And we get one joke that I actually like. I enjoyed this joke where all that's left after Kitty is kidnapped is this tuna fish lipstick, and Dudley smells it and he's like, oh, this smells like a beached whale. And then there's actually a beached whale, and he's like, I'm just trying to get a tan, buddy.
Even a flavored lip gloss smells like a beached whale. No, I'm wrong. It's that guy.
Just trying to get a tan, buddy.
And I actually enjoyed that joke. I thought it was funny until they decided to tell it 3 more times in the episode. Yeah, the same exact joke in which Dudley will be like, oh, I thought that was a beached whale. And then he'll just say that he's trying to get a tan again. Wow. We're really using all of our time and skills. We're paying all of those editors and writers their salaries, and they're earning it. They are earning it. An entire room full of writers are earning it right now. So, either way, they get kidnapped, and then Snaptrap and Dudley, they run to this convention, and they find out that it's the Weasel, and they both start screaming, and this is where the episode just goes, because, oh my god, Dudley and Snaptrap working together was a awful decision, a horrible choice, because their personalities, they don't mesh together. They're both stupid. Genuinely. They're so dumb that when they have conversations, I just wanted to punch my screen because of how much they were making me angry. Like, they see this villain named the Weasel, and they both start yelling and screaming, the Weasel! He's evil! And then they do that for a while, and then they both start talking, and they're like, well, Snaptrap, you know, we gotta do this thing. We gotta make sure that we don't get distracted. And then Snaptrap's like, yeah, we have to make sure we don't get distracted. And then the next scene, Snaptrap's like, oh, we got distracted. And they're getting froyo.
Can't let anything distract us. This yogurt machine totally distracted us.
Awesome. That was really funny. That was such a funny joke. God, I just love opposite jokes. Just, oh my god, I can't believe we got distracted after saying I hope we don't get distracted 5 times in a row. Wow. And then they decide to take the froyo machine for some odd reason, and then they're running up a hill, and Snaptrap's just like, I've just been releasing so much gas, Dudley. And then he just farts. I don't know why. And then that's when we got our next beach whale joke where Dudley's like, oh, I thought that smell was a beached whale.
Phew! I am totally winded. Also, I'm breaking a lot of wind. Yogurt gives me trumpet butt.
Yeah, it's pretty great, huh? And then we just get a lot more of Dudley and Snaptrap talking. and I'll just play you one of those clips so you can understand what I'm going through.
A tiger trap. Good thing our crash didn't wake them up.
What? Speak up! I have yogurt in my ears!
Yeah, is that fun? Is that fun for you to sit there and listen to them just bicker, but also both of them be so unbelievably dumb that the conversation goes nowhere? Oh, we landed in a tiger pit. Oh man, I sure hope that the thing didn't make enough noise to affect us. And then the rat's just like, what? What are you talking about? It's so awful, man. I just can't get behind it. I really can't. I'm trying so hard to enjoy this and I can't. So they both eventually find Kitty and the little plushie and they just get them out of there by switching their places with the Froyo machine, and then they arrest the weasel, and that's pretty much the entire episode. I don't know. I think Dudley mixing with this rat character was a awful decision. I don't know why you couldn't just have Kitty and Dudley go on this adventure together, because, I mean, I don't really like Kitty as a character very much, but at least she can pair well with Dudley's ignorance to balance it out in a way. But when you have two characters who are just so unbelievably stupid the entire time, it makes me upset, it makes me angry, I'm not having a good time. I don't know what they were thinking, and they just told the same joke over and over and over and over again. It's driving me mad. I didn't like this episode at all. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 1 out of 10. It was so unbelievably bad. I never want to watch it ever again. Taking a look at the random category with a 8.1 on IMDb, we have the episode Hush Puppy, and guys, I really don't like the show. I really don't. The episode opens with Snaptrap, God, my just favorite villain in all of fiction. He's better than Fire Lord Ozai. He's better than Gus Fring. He is just a peak villain in fiction. My God, because he wants to steal all the yo-yos in a yo-yo factory, and then we get a flashback to him from yesterday where he hurt himself with a yo-yo. Yeah, it's whatever. I don't care about it. But we do get a scene from this that I actually did enjoy, where he just has this character named Larry in a box, and I don't even know why he's in the box, but he just picks up the box and he's like, "Sorry, Larry, there's an earthquake. Oh no, bro."
I can't hear you, Larry! We're having an earthquake!
I liked that a lot. I don't know, that was funny. But then it just goes really downhill from there. Kitty is already there in a yo-yo costume, and she's like, "We're doing a stakeout," and then Dudley, as loud as possible, "Steak? Where?"
Dudley, we're on a stakeout.
Then where's the steak? Oh no! It's Agent Puppy in a...
And that's the theme for this episode, at least the beginning of it, that Dudley is absurdly loud and he keeps costing them missions because of how loud he is. Why? Why do they have to make a character who is already so annoying, and let's just turn up the pitch of his voice even more so he can be even more annoying, and they just amplified how dumb he is just to the maximum. Because, like, yeah, he's an agent, and I've seen him actually be capable of doing things in an episode, but here, he is just so unbelievably stupid that he is just a hindrance to everything they're doing. You then cut to a scene where this bird guy, he wants a brand new wig, and he does the same exact thing where he's loud, and the villain is all like, "Oh no, it's the top agents, we gotta get out of here." And then Kitty's like, "Oh, you ruined it, Dudley, you ruined it all with your loud voice." Then he's like, "What?" It's just so annoying, man.
Dudley, that's twice your loud voice has tipped off the villains.
I'm not Dudley! I'm the summertime doctor!
Just like, who finds this funny? Who finds it funny? Not me. Not me. So then they decide that they're going to put a collar on Dudley, which completely eliminates his voice. And the world starts healing. They're all like, "The ozone layer is repairing. Everything's getting so much better." So they're very happy about that. And then, I don't know, the comedy just still isn't there. If you want a joke that you could look at, just look at what happens when Kitty starts dancing. They're just like, "Oh, the ozone layer's not fixed anymore because of Kitty's bad dancing." Man, that was really funny, you know? I know writers don't get paid enough, but still, when you have a whole room of them, this is the best you can do. Really? Really? So then there's this fish guy who wants to take over the entire world by flooding it all, so he starts flooding the world. Meanwhile, the like doctor guy and the little bug who's in charge of the agency, they're living it up. Like the little guy who has a stutter, he can pull baddies now because Dudley can't talk. He's like, oh, I got over my fear of talking to women. You're the bomb, baby. And he just has 2 baddies on hip to hip. So good for him, I guess. That was kind of funny. But then Dudley starts having to do charades, and that goes on for like 4 minutes. 4 minutes! And then they're like, oh my god, they're flooding the world. So they give Dudley his voice back, and he screams, which saves the world. Yay. Yippee. Yeah, this episode sucked. It really did. I really dislike this show for mainly character reasons. I don't think any of the characters are interesting. Dudley being the main character of the show is just so hard to watch. His voice annoys me. His stupidity annoys me. The things he chooses to do annoys me. And that makes the show overall just very not enjoyable. And an episode where it starts off with him being very loud isn't good. And then watching him do charades for 4 minutes while all the other characters are just being stupid as well also isn't enjoyable. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 3 out of 10. There were some saving graces about it, but other than that, it was very, very awful.
You know who else is just gonna stop right there and not watch another episode because this show is pissing me off?
Me. Is this show actually awful? Personally, I think so, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a unpopular opinion. I'm gonna get so many people like,
nah, dude, it's just hashtag so brain raw, hashtag so much fun, hashtag such a good show. Like, this was my shit growing up. Like, dude, I love Top Puppy being like, oh my god, look, it's a steak. Oh my god, let me eat it. Oh!
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of comments like that, but I'm just gonna have to disagree with all of them. I was going into this really hopeful that I was just being a stupid kid and Butch Hartman knew what he was delivering. I mean, the majority of these episodes have pretty positive ratings, but maybe I'm just a bona fide hater. I don't think the characters work in this world. Genuinely. I don't think the villains were interesting. I don't think the concepts they decided to do was interesting. Honestly, no, I take that back. The concepts were interesting. But if Dudley was a better written character and actually had maybe more than one brain cell, it'd be a little bit more entertaining. But I do not find his character good in the lead role at all. They should have put a much more grounded character as the lead, and then you could have Dudley be that comedic side role character who's just so dumb, but the main character is always there to play it off. Kitty is definitely supposed to be that character, but the majority of the time, she's either kidnapped or doesn't say anything that actually benefits, helping Dudley's character to be a little bit more grounded, which makes it just so unenjoyable, at least to me. I do not like T.U.F.F. Puppy, and I hope to never revisit it again.